All right, sixth graders. So today we're thinking about replacing letters with numbers in math. Because we're getting into algebra, and sometimes we see letters, and we know that those letters mean a number, but you don't always know what it is. So let's take a look. So what's the length of one side of this square? I don't know. I don't really know. I could say it's 3 units, because, there's 3 units there, but I'm just going to say it is x. Because I don't know, so I'm just going to say x to stand in for that number. So what's the formula for the area of a square? Well, I know to find the length of a square, or any quadrilateral, I do one side multiplied by the other side. Now this is a square, so both sides are the same length. So the formula would be x times, I'm going to use the dot for multiplying, x. I'm using the dot for multiplying because with all those x's, if I use an x for multiplication symbol, it gets confusing. So we're going to use a dot for multiplication. So we have x times x, or another way we could say x times x, x squared. X times x squared, same thing. But here where it asks us as a multiplication expression, we're going to say x times x. The square's area would be x times x, or x squared units. So we can count the units, so we could say it's 3. But let's take a look at this other square. So this square has a side length of 23 centimeters. That's way too many tiny units to draw. So what expression can we build to find the square's area? Well, since we know squares have the same length of side, we know this is 23, and this is 23, and this is 23. So we know that to find the area, we have to do the height times the width. Height times width. So 23 times 23, or we could also write it as 23 squared, or 23 to the second power, which equals 529, and we're going to put it centimeters squared. And we say squared because we're dealing with area, and that's how we measure area, is in square centimeters or square inches or square miles. If we're talking volume, it would be centimeters cubed. If we're talking length, it would just be centimeters, but area, centimeters squared. Go ahead and complete exercise 1 on your own. Once you think you have it ready, come see me to have it checked, and then and only then may you go on to the rest of this video. So check out this example. What does the letter B represent in this blue rectangle? Well, B, it represents the height. So I'm going to say B equals the height. I know it says with a partner, but we're going to do it just here, you and me. Answer the following question. Given that the second rectangle is divided into 4 equal parts, what number does the x represent? Okay, so 4 equal parts. So that means these are all the same size. So this is 4, this is 4, this is 4, and this is 4. Well, if each of those fourths is 4 centimeters wide, then 4 plus 4 is 8. So x equals 8. Well, I arrived at this answer because 4 plus 4 is 8. And because I knew that all those sections were 4 inches wide because I was told it was equal. So what's the total length of the second rectangle? Well, if it had 4 sections that were 4 inches across, 4 times 4 is 16. So 16 centimeters. We want to keep our labels there. If the 2 large rectangles have equal lengths and widths, find the area of each rectangle. Well, we know from up here that it's 16 across, and then we know that it's 8 centimeters tall, so 16 times 8 equals the area. So 16 times 8, and that's going to equal 128, and then always for area, centimeters squared. Alright, go ahead and work on exercise 2. raise your hand or come see me if you need any help. If it's taking you longer than 4 or 5 minutes, then you need to come see me for some help. All right, now we're getting spicy. We're getting into some three-dimensional figures. Now in math, we call these three-dimensional figures prisms. So these are rectangular prisms because they're prisms that are shaped like rectangles. So in the first diagram, what does L represent? Well, L is the length. That's why it's an L, for length. Uh-oh, we misspelled length. How about the W? What does the W represent? I hope you were thinking width, and you would be correct. Now how about the H? Take a minute and guess for yourself, and we'll see if you were right. H is the height. Height. So we know that the formula to find the volume of something is length times width times height. What number can we substitute for the L in the formula? Well, if you look at the rectangle that's labeled, you'll see that the 6 is the length. So we'll substitute 6 for L. What other number could we substitute? We could substitute any number depending on the size of the prism. So we're going to say it depends on the size of the prism. So which number could we substitute for W? If you look at the top of your page, you'll see that that number is going to be 2. And why? How do we know? Because the 2 is right where the W is on the first prism. For H, you know you can substitute 8. So then we have to determine the volume. So we know that the formula for volume is length times width times height, which in this case is 6 times 2 times 8. So 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 8 is 96. And we know this is in centimeters, and because we're talking about volume, this is going to be centimeters cubed. All right, go ahead and work on exercise 3 and come see me once you are finished. Good luck, 6th graders.